Philippines diversity and demographic landscape. The Philippines is a culturally diverse nation with a complex demographic landscape characterized by various ethnic groups, languages, and indigenous populations. Here is an updated overview based on recent census data and demographic studies. Ethnic groups. The major ethnic groups in the Philippines as of the 2023 census include ethnic group percentage of population, Tagalog 26%, Bisaya, Binisaya 14.3%, Cebuano 8%, Ilocano 8%, Hiligaynon, Ilonggo 7.9%, Bicol 6.5%, Waray 3.8%, Kapampangan 3%, Maguindanao 1.9%, Pangasinan 1.9%. Other local ethnicities 15.7%, approximately, of the population is classified as non-indigenous peoples, while are identified as indigenous peoples IPs and belong to Muslim tribes. Languages. The Philippines is home to around languages, predominantly from the Malayo-Polynesian branch of the Austronesian language family. The most widely spoken languages include Tagalog, national language, Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon, Bicolano, Waray, Pampangan. English is also an official language and widely used in education and government. Indigenous peoples. The indigenous population is estimated to be between and of the total population, with approximately million individuals identified as indigenous according to various civil society estimates. The largest indigenous groups include Subanans, Manobos, Mandayas. These groups are primarily located in specific geographic regions, such as the Cordillera Mountains in Luzon and various areas in Mindanao. In summary, the Philippines exhibits a rich tapestry of ethnic diversity, with significant representation from both major ethnic groups and indigenous populations. The Tagalog people constitute the largest group, while various other ethnicities contribute to the country's cultural richness. The linguistic landscape reflects this diversity, with numerous languages spoken across the archipelago. In the Philippines, the religious landscape is predominantly Christian, with significant Muslim and indigenous populations. Here's a detailed breakdown based on the latest census data and demographic studies. Religious composition. Christianity. Percentage. Approximately 84% to 90% of the population identifies as Christian. Catholicism. About 79% to 80% are Roman Catholics, making it the largest religious group in the country. Protestantism and other denominations, around 5% to 10%, belong to various Protestant denominations, including Iglesia Ni Cristo, Aglipayan Church, and other independent Christian groups. Islam. Percentage. Muslims constitute about 6% to 9% of the total population. Geographic concentration. The majority of Muslims reside in the southern regions, particularly in Mindanao and the Sulu archipelago, where Islam has a long-standing presence. Indigenous religions. Indigenous groups often practice traditional religions alongside Christianity or Islam. While specific percentages for indigenous religions are harder to quantify, they represent a smaller segment of the population compared to Christians and Muslims. Indigenous peoples IPs are estimated to make up about 10% to 20% of the population, with many adhering to their traditional beliefs. Summary. The Philippines is predominantly Christian, with about 2% of its population identifying as such, primarily Roman Catholic. Muslims represent around 6% to 9%, mainly in Mindanao. Indigenous groups contribute to the country's diversity, with their traditional beliefs coexisting alongside major religions. In the Philippines, different ethnic groups are associated with various traditional occupations and roles within the economy. Here's an overview of the primary jobs and work characteristics of some of the major ethnic groups, including Christians, Muslims, and indigenous peoples. Major ethnic groups and their occupations. Tagalog. Common occupations. Many Tagalogs are engaged in the services sector, including education, healthcare, and business. They are also involved in agriculture, particularly in rice and coconut farming. Urban employment. A significant number work in urban centers, contributing to industries such as retail and manufacturing. Visayan Cebuano Hiligaynon Nilongo. Cebuano, primarily found in the Visayas region, Cebuanos often work in agriculture, focusing on sugarcane, rice, and fishing. The tourism industry is also a growing sector for employment. Hiligaynon Nilongo. This group is known for their roles in sugarcane farming, rice production, and fishing. Many also engage in small-scale entrepreneurship. Ilocano. Common occupations. Ilocanos are predominantly involved in agriculture, particularly as farmers of rice, tobacco, and garlic. They are known for their strong agricultural practices due to the fertile lands in northern Luzon. Migration for work. Many Ilocanos migrate to urban areas or abroad for better job opportunities, often taking up labor-intensive jobs. Bicolano. Common occupations. Bicolanos mainly work in agriculture, focusing on rice, coconut, and abaca hemp farming. They also participate in fishing and local crafts. Tourism. With the region's natural beauty, some Bicolanos are employed in tourism. Waray. Common occupations. The Waray people primarily engage in farming, cultivating crops like rice, coconuts, and root vegetables. Fishing is also a significant part of their livelihood. Community work. Many Waray participate in community-based projects that promote local agriculture and crafts. Indigenous peoples. Indigenous groups in the Philippines, often referred to collectively as Lumads, or other specific tribal names depending on their region, e.g. Igorot, Mangjian, have unique occupational practices. Traditional livelihoods. Many indigenous peoples engage in traditional occupations such as farming, hunting, gathering, and fishing. Their agricultural practices often include slash-and-burn techniques and subsistence farming. Artisanal work. Indigenous artisans produce handicrafts using natural resource management. Some indigenous groups are involved in sustainable management of their ancestral lands through practices that promote biodiversity and environmental conservation. Challenges. Indigenous peoples often face barriers to formal employment due to discrimination and lack of access to education. Many work informally or migrate to urban areas seeking better opportunities but may end up in low-paying jobs with little security. Summary. The diverse ethnic groups in the Philippines contribute to a rich tapestry of occupations ranging from agriculture to services. While many engage in traditional livelihoods connected to their cultural heritage, there are significant challenges related to access to decent work and social protection for indigenous peoples. The ongoing need for recognition of their rights and support for sustainable economic practices remains critical for their development.